Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the MLB slate on DraftKings for Friday, July 6th. We have a 14-game slate tonight on Friday. A slate that always, these big Friday slates always have loaded pitching options. That's the case today. We actually have, looks like 7 options over 10K on DraftKings. So it's a slate where we got a lot of studs, at least a lot of stud pitchers to pay up for. But the value, I think, today is at a minimal. I'm not seeing a lot of value that I like. That's like 7K and below. There's mid-tier plays I feel like in this 8K range, but like sub 7K, maybe a guy like Sonny Gray might be the cheapest option I consider here, or like Trevor Williams. But these are not guys I'm thrilled about, so the value very thin today. If we want to pay up for these stud pitchers, we're going to have to go cheap at pitcher. We're going to have to try and find a cheap pitcher we can pair, and I think we will be able to. I think we can at least find one. We'll talk about all the pitchers on this slate, at least the pitchers I'm very interested in. But before we do get started looking at pitcher and the bats for today, stacks, BVP plays, before we cover all that, make sure you guys do drop a like on the video. I definitely would appreciate it. And if you are new to the channel and you have not clicked that subscribe button yet, make sure you do subscribe down below, so that way you won't miss out on any of my new uploads. But yeah, these 7 options over 10K. Starting up from the top, we got Chris Sale, who is the most expensive. He is 14K, going up against the Royals. Now, Chris Sale, as of late, has just been on another level. I believe he has 3 straight games with over 10 strikeouts. He had 11, 13, and 11 strikeouts his last 3 games. Even before those 3, 9 strikeouts against Baltimore. Sale's just been so good lately. I know his velocity's been up. I saw where he's throwing a lot harder. That's really shown, and he's really just had a lot more success lately. I do like Sale on this slate, but he is 14K. That's a hefty price to pay. We only have $50,000 to spend. Got to cover all positions, so I just don't know if I can pay this much for Chris Sale today. The Royals aren't a team that strikes out that much, and I think there are guys that are a little bit cheaper that do have similar upside to Sale and could possibly outscore him. And I think one of those guys is Jacob deGrom. I love deGrom here. Great matchup at home, 13K versus the Rays. This is a Rays team that strikes out a ton. deGrom's going to be pitching at home, where he has a ton of success. He's averaging 27 DraftKings points at home this year. He just always pitched better at home. It's a great matchup, great strikeout matchup as well. The Rays strike out a lot. They only have a 3.1 implied run total for today. You look up and down this lineup, just so many Ks. Great spot for deGrom in a pitcher's park. The Rays are going to the National League. They're going to lose their DH. I think deGrom just has so much upside today. Could definitely be the highest scoring pitcher on this slate. And I am trying to pay up for him. I feel like he might somewhat come low owned as well. So if you do want to use deGrom in tournaments, I think that makes a ton of sense. I feel like everyone's probably going to pay up for Sale. He's going to be the highest owned out of this pairing. And obviously I think that is a good play. I think you can pay up for Sale. But if you want like a lower guy, or ownership-wise, if you want a guy that's going to be lower owned, I think deGrom at 13K, definitely a guy you should be looking at in tournaments. Also, don't mind McCullers or Carrasco either. Those are guys I'm going to be saving for tournaments. I think in cash games, I'm probably just going to pay up for deGrom or Sale. Those are probably my cash pitchers. But in GPPs, I'm sure I'll be playing multiple lineups today. So I'm going to have lineups with Chris Sale. Going to have a lineup with deGrom, McCullers, and Carrasco. Those are guys that I really like if I'm paying up. Fultonevich, Peralta, and Maeda. I think I'm going to shy away from all 3 of those guys. Just don't love their matchups, their price tags as well. I'd rather just get up to the other 4 options up top. So if I am paying up, I like the top 4. Sale and deGrom, definitely like the cash plays for me. And if you want tournament plays, I think all guys are viable in tournaments. But yeah, that really is it for the stud pitchers over 10K. Now, looking for the value. If we need mid-tier plays, we're going to have to get them. If we want to pay up for deGrom, we're going to need cheap pitchers. There really isn't a cheap pitcher that I love, like 7K. The guy that I like to pair with deGrom is kind of expensive. We're really going to need value at hitter, but I think there is some value at hitter today. I like Zach Galli to pair with deGrom. Galli, 8,600 on DraftKings. You pair him and deGrom, that still leaves you $35.50 remaining per player, which isn't much, but I think it can be worked around today. Like I said, there's guys that are like sub 4K that do have upside, that are pretty good hitters and good matchups. So I like pairing deGrom with Galli. Still think it leaves me enough at hitter to where I can really build a lineup that I like. Galli is 8,600 here. He's in a matchup at home versus the Padres, which we love. The Padres, they're just not good offensively. They're a team that we know strikes out a ton. Only a 3.7 implied run total for today. I love Galli here. I think he has a lot of upside in this matchup. He has pitched once against the Padres this year and did put up 23 DraftKings points. Had 8 strikeouts, allowed 6 hits and 2 runs through 5 1/3 inning. Got the I believe he got the win in that game. Yeah, did get the win. 23 DK points when he faced the Padres earlier this year. Could definitely put up a similar outing to that, if not a better outing. I like Godley here to pair with DeGrom. If we want to look for cheap pitchers, like I said, there isn't a lot I love that's really cheap. I think Sonny Gray at 6,800 versus the Blue Jays is an option you could go to, but that's very risky. That's not a cash play in my opinion. Just don't know if I would use Sonny Gray in cash. Maybe Trevor Williams at 6,600, but that's another risky play versus the Phillies. You really don't know what you're going to get from Trevor Williams. I think in cash games today, you're probably going to really be spinning at pitcher, which is something you usually always do, but especially on today's slate, you're probably going to have to spend like over 21K for your two pitchers. Hopefully, though, when teams release their lineups, we might get some value hitter. We might get some cheap guys leading off or something we could consider in cash. But yeah, for tournaments, like the tournament plays you could go to, I think like Nick Pivetta could definitely be a tournament play. In cash, I think I'd rather play Golly for 200 more. Pivetta is a guy that we know a ton of strikeouts versus righties. A Pirates team that rolls out a lot of righties in their projected lineup. Only looks like five lefties in their projected lineup. So not as righty heavy as I thought, but this might not be the lineup they actually roll out. The Pirates do sometimes roll out different lineups than what they project. But yeah, Pivetta 8,400. You could use in tournaments. But I think Godley and cash would probably be the way I'd go. But yeah, like the cheap guys, there's not a lot I love. I said Trevor Williams, 6,600, really would be the only cheap option I think I would consider on this slate. So yeah, spending a lot of pitcher today. We're going to need value hitters. All of my three hitters are going to be sub 4K. Definitely going to give you some value. We will start off at second base where cheap option here, sub 4K. I like Jason Kipnis, just 3,700. He's in a matchup with Paul Blackburn. And this is a matchup that I really like. Blackburn, not a good pitcher. Doesn't strike anybody out. Throws the ball in the zone. The Indians are just in a great spot here. A 5.5 implied run total. At home, the Indians play very well. They hit the ball well at home. Love them here. Love the value that you get from this lineup at the bottom. I usually don't like to play guys at the bottom of the lineup, but that might be something we have to do on this slate with all the money that we're going to spend at pitcher. So Jason Kipnis, projected about 6 for 3,700. Really like here versus Blackburn. If you're looking for a cheap second baseman or just a cheap hitter in general on this slate, I think he is a good option at second base. Then another cheap play at shortstop, Elvis Andrus, just 3,500 versus Jordan Zimmerman. This is another value play that I really like. This is another team that I definitely like to stack today. Texas and Detroit. I think this game in general has a lot of game stack appeal with Bartolo Colon and Jordan Zimmerman going up against each other. I definitely wish this game was being played in Texas, but even in Detroit, I think this game is still stackable. You do have a 4.8 implied run total for both teams. You should definitely see runs in this game. Two pretty bad pitchers. You've got value from both sides of these lineups with Andrus, Beltre, Odor, Profar, Gallo. All those guys 4K and under. Trinos to Shields 4K and under. On the other side, you got Matsuk leading off 3,100. Might be a popular cash play today just because he's leading off 3,100 versus Cologne. Could definitely go there. You got Candelario at 4K, V-Mart 3K, Goodrum at 3,700. He was my guy Thursday. Definitely hit a homer for us. Came through. Don't mind going back to the well on him today if you want to play him. Project about 5th for 3,700. You've got value from both sides of this game. I feel like in cash games, this is probably a game you're going to look to if you're playing or if you're paying up at pitcher with like Godley and Sale or Godley, DeGrom. You're going to need value hitter. Look to Detroit. Look to Texas. Got value from both sides of that game, and Elvis Andrus from the Texas side is a guy that I like at 3,500, projected about second. And then my final play, another really cheap option from a team that I also really like today is Brett Gardner from the Yankees. Gardner is just 3,500, going to be leading off versus Sam Gaviglio. Really like Gardner here in this matchup. Gaviglio is a pitcher that I really don't believe in, a pitcher I do want to attack. So like Gardner at 3,500 I think is another really good cash game play. Leading off, should get plenty of ABs. Even the guys like Andujar, Bird, Gregorius are really not that expensive. Didi's only 4,400. Bird projected about 7th is 3,700. These could be value plays you look to. You could definitely look to the Yankees as a stack today. And Brett Gardner leading off, really good play for value to pair with our expensive pitchers. So yeah guys, these are my 5 plays for today. Jacob deGrom, Zach Godley, Jason Kipnis, Elvis Andrus, and Brett Gardner. Now we will talk about stacks and BVP plays before we do get out of here. So factoring in price today, I think my top stacks on this slate are by far Detroit and Texas. If I'm paying up for pitcher today, which I'm probably going to be doing in almost all my lineups, I'm going to need value. I'm going to really need value at hitter. Really can look to this game to do that. I think runs are going to be scored in this game, and I like the value you get from both sides of these lineups. So Texas, Detroit, if I have to choose one, I think I'd lean Texas probably versus Zimmerman just because they have a more attractive lineup. But I definitely think both sides are in play here. Houston, like if you're not paying up at pitcher, which I really don't think I would recommend on this slate, but if you're going a little bit cheaper at pitcher, Houston versus Ronaldo Lopez, a 5.1 implied run total. You could look to Houston. You could obviously look to the Red Sox versus Jason Hamill if you're going to be paying down at pitcher. But like paying up at pitcher, which is something like I said I want to do, looking for cheap stacks, that's where I like Detroit, Texas, even the cheap bats from the Yankees you could consider. Those are really the teams I'm focused on, kind of the same with the Indians as well. But yeah, BVP plays, we'll talk about these before we get out of here. Looks like we got about 4, 5, 6 BVP plays on this main slate. So Carlos Gomez, 4 for 10 versus DeGrom. Mark Trumbo is 5 for 10 with 3 home runs versus Lance Lynn. Christian Yelich is 9 for 20 with 9 for 20 versus Fultonevich. Logan Morrison, 5 for 15 with 2 home runs versus Dylan Bundy. Xander Bogaerts, 5 for 10 with a home run versus Hamill, and Will Myers has gone 7 for 15 with a home run versus Zach Godley. And then PVB, the pitchers that have done well on this main slate, Gio Gonzalez, he has done well against the Marlins. Marlins have only hit Gio for a 215 average through 93 ABs. Sonny Gray has done well against the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays have only hit Sonny Gray for a 189 average through 132 ABs. And then King Felix, he has done well against the Rockies. The Rockies have only hit Felix for a 164 average through 61 ABs. So yeah, guys, that's it for pitchers. That's it for PVB and BVP. And that is it for this video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully this video did help you. If you enjoyed, make sure you click that like button before you get out of here. If you have not subscribed yet, make sure you do click that subscribe button down below. And if you have any questions, you can always hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT, or feel free to leave a comment down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. And good luck tonight on this 14-game slate. Peace.